Welcome, welcome. I'm always so happy to see you come back for more of this education on menopause. It's just so wonderful to know that it's helping you make management choices that will work for you. So this is video number 334, and it's part of our unit on endometrial uterine cancer. And 3 videos ago, in video 331, we started discussing your management options for preventing endometrial uterine cancer. So far, I've given you some basic principles for preventing it in video 331, dietary options in video 332, and dieting options in video 333. So today, we'll address your exercise options. I always like to tell you why you should watch a video, because these days everybody tends to assume they know everything already when they really don't. And even though you hear all sorts of things about exercise that make you presume you know it all, you rarely get information that is specific for a particular purpose. Unlike most educators, I tailor everything to every topic and to the specific situation of menopause. And within each unit, I tailor all your management options to that specific disease or symptom. But sometimes, the principles I teach you in one unit are also applicable to another unit. And this video constitutes such a situation. Now, if you have my book, all of chapter 31 in both first edition and second edition is on endometrial uterine cancer. And it's a really good idea to use the book in conjunction with these videos. I told you previously that I would associate these videos on prevention of endometrial uterine cancer with the cause and risk factors for endometrial uterine cancer. The risk factor for endometrial uterine cancer of concern today is being fat. So the goal of exercise in preventing endometrial uterine cancer is to cut the fat. Cut the fat. That's what we care about. And let's face it, if you're fat enough for your fat to put you at high risk for endometrial uterine cancer, you're not just a little overweight. You're probably obese or morbidly obese. You see, I'm a realist, and I meet you where you are. I'm not here to judge anybody, but I am here to ensure your success. And the fact is that most women who are obese enough to have a high risk of endometrial uterine cancer are not into exercise. So for purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to adopt the premise that you are not in the habit of exercising. And I'm going to present the basics in how to get started with exercise, from square one, as they say. In the last video, I told you that your weight is 80% due to your diet and 20% due to exercise. So keep that in perspective. We are considering the 20% that is necessary to cut your fat enough to prevent endometrial uterine cancer. So don't kid yourself. Because of the 80-20 rule, exercise alone will not cut it. Your fat, that is. So this video is going to be very specific about how to get started on accomplishing the 20% of your weight goals that derive from exercise. And I'm going to give you some very simple rules. I love simplicity. Some people use the acronym KISS, and to most people that means keep it simple, stupid. But I don't consider any of you stupid. So instead of stupid, our second S is sister. Keep it simple, sister. You know, I've always had this tendency to boil things down to simple basics. And as an introvert, I'm in the habit of studying alone. I never attended study group sessions and such when I was in school. I just couldn't envision how in the world they could help me. But when I was in law school, I went to one, but only because it was scheduled in the law school lounge at a time when I was there between classes anyway. And it was mostly out of my laziness because instead of just finding another place to pass the time between classes, I decided to stay in the lounge. And since I'd never attended a study session before, I was a bit curious about how effective they could be. At the time, I was in my late 30s, while most of the other students were much, much younger. I was also a practicing physician with one of the largest OB-GYN practices in the largest medical center in the world. And while I knew the other students from class, I didn't know any of them outside of class. And as is typical of an introvert, I just sat back and listened while the other students jabbered back and forth about this and that in preparation for our final exam. And it all just seemed so disorganized and unproductive to me. I mean, one student would cite a legal case. Another would cite a second on the same topic. For each, they would spurt out some bit of minutia. And a third student would chime in with an exception. It was as if each knew a little piece of the bottom line, but none of them had really connected the dots. So, after laboriously listening to them, to their massive minutia, for about 45 minutes, I finally spoke up. And I boiled everything they had said for the last 45 minutes down to one rule of law that covered the whole topic and constituted the bottom line in just 2 simple sentences. And they all just looked at me with shocked faces and said, "Oh my gosh, that makes it so simple." So a lot of my tendency to simplify things comes from my way of handling educational material as I learn it. I make outlines and charts and flow sheets and anything that lays it all out in a way that enables me to see relationships or conflicts. And I think of it as, you know, cutting the fat, which is a perfect fit for our topic today. Now, you've seen this largely in the way I teach you about menopause. So let's just keep it simple, sister. So the profile of the woman who is at high risk for endometrial uterine cancer is one who is old, fat, and has never been fond of exercise. She doesn't know the first thing about exercise. All she knows is she hates it. This tutorial caters to that profile. And the vast majority of menopausal women who are at high risk of endometrial uterine cancer fit that profile quite well. So here are the simple bottom lines for success at cutting the fat. I'll give you 15 rules of exercise that will ensure your success in utilizing exercise as a means of cutting your fat so that you cut your risk of endometrial uterine cancer. And some of them might surprise you. Okay, here we go. Rule number 1 is the start today rule. Simply start today. Don't wait until January 1st. Don't wait until after that big special event, be it a vacation, a wedding, or a holiday. Don't procrastinate. Procrastinating on exercise is what made you fat in the first place. So if you want to stop being fat, you need to stop procrastinating on doing the exercise that will cut the fat. Rule number 2 is what I refer to as the doing versus talking rule. This simple rule is nothing more than replacing talking about it with doing it. Exercise, that is. Women talk so much about how they know they need to exercise, but that's all they do, talk about it. They don't actually do it, they just talk about doing it. So do it rather than talking about doing it. I must confess that I am guilty of talking, not about it, but while at it, or more specifically, while at the gym. You see, I'm very social at the gym. I know everybody, and I talk to everybody. This is one of the reasons why people refuse to believe I'm an introvert. Oftentimes, I'll stand without exercising and talk to someone for a very long time while at the gym. On multiple occasions, a trainer has said, "Barbie, you've been standing there talking for almost an hour. Aren't you here to work out?" And I always respond with, "Well, yes. This is my upper body workout. Look how talking has sculpted my jaw." I tell them that the social interaction I get at the gym is good for my health. And that brings us to rule number 3, which is what I refer to as simply the social motors rule. What I mean by that is this: make exercise part of your social life. I think of people as falling into one of 2 categories. They're either motors or anchors. You want to surround yourself with the motors and lose the anchors, because the motors are active and will keep you moving, while the anchors are heavy and will drag you down with them. One way to accomplish this is to get your social life from your gym. People who go to gyms are active, and if you're friends with them, you'll be active with them. They probably won't be smokers and drinkers either, and they're likely to be health nuts. And they'll be thrilled to see you doing something to get healthy too. I always say the gym is my bar. It's where I meet people and make friends. I also say that you are the average of the 5 people with whom you spend the most time. So who are they? Are they motors or anchors? Rule number 4 is the simple everyday rule. This just means exercise every day, every single day. So often, women who are trying to start an exercise habit decide that they will exercise 3 to 4 days each week. But let's play that out. If you tell yourself that you're going to exercise 4 days a week, that means that every single day you are going to have a debate with yourself about whether or not to exercise that day. And because you're shooting for just 4 days each week, you can put it off until tomorrow. Now, there's nothing wrong with actually exercising 4 days each week if you actually do it. But let's be realistic. You probably won't. When you get to the end of the week, you'll realize that you only exercised 3 days. And the next thing you know, you had a very busy week and you only exercised 2 days, and on, and before you know it, you're completely out of the exercise habit altogether. So this simple rule is that you exercise every single day, no matter what. And by doing so, you will make it habitual. And habitual exercise is what will cut your fat. So do not take days off. Simple exercise rule number 5 is the routine rule. Simply make it part of your routine. This means instead of trying to fit your exercise into your busy day, make it a routine thing that you do at the same time every single day. Figure out where it fits best into your schedule and do it at that same time every day. If you're a morning person, get up and exercise first thing every single morning. Don't allow yourself to lie in bed thinking, maybe I'll do it at lunchtime. Your exercise should be as routine as brushing your teeth every day or sleeping every day. Just build it into your everyday schedule. Rule number 6 is simply the no interruptions rule. In other words, choose a time of day when you have no interruptions in your ability to get your exercise. Do not let other things or other people interfere. If your exercise time is in the morning, don't make plans to have coffee with a friend or schedule your doctor's appointment in the morning. Reserve your exercise time so that nothing else gets scheduled at the same time. Be selfish about it. Make it your selfish time Make it a sacred treasure and guard it as such. Train your family to respect your exercise time too. Don't allow them to interfere. Simple rule number 7 is similar, but for you instead of for others. It's the no excuses rule. It's simply don't make excuses. Exercise and excuses don't mix. Excuses consist of anything you tell yourself as a justification for skipping your exercise. This is important because you will justify just about anything as a valid excuse. The weather, a vacation, holiday time, out-of-town visitors, a sick dog, a long to-do list, a hangnail, etc. Once you make one excuse, you'll find it easier and easier to make more and more excuses. So, no excuses. Simple exercise rule number 8 is the enjoy it rule. By this I mean find a way to enjoy your exercise time. That may mean listening to music while weightlifting, or watching TV while on a treadmill, or using dance to exercise. It may simply consist of being all alone with peace and quiet. Or it may entail making exercise social by going to classes. Do whatever it takes for you to enjoy your exercise. Make it so enjoyable that you look forward to it every day. Exercise rule number 9 is simply do your thing rule. Do what works for you. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to know much about exercise. You can do something as simple as walking. Just do what works for you. That may be taking exercise classes at a gym. It may mean working out with a trainer. It may be adopting a buddy to exercise with you. Maybe it means exercising outdoors, or it may mean taking your dog on long hikes. Just do what works for you. It doesn't matter what works for anybody else. Exercise rule number 10 is simply the get equipped rule. This means get the right gear so that your exercise is comfortable. Make sure you have the right shoes, clothes, and protection. If you do any kind of exercise without the right equipment, you will hate it. And if you hate it, you won't keep doing it. And if you don't keep doing it, you'll keep your fat. The right gear actually makes exercise easier. So it adds to the simplicity, sister. Exercise rule number 11 is simply the hydrate rule. It is so common to see an exercise beginner without a water bottle. The best surefire way to fail is to fail to hydrate. Overheat, make yourself sick, and decide that you can't exercise. Nobody can exercise without hydrating. You absolutely have to have water. So get a good water bottle and fill it every day whenever you exercise, or take bottled water with you. You should drink water like crazy while you're exercising. If you don't, you'll fail in your efforts. Exercise rule number 12 is simply the don't get hurt rule. Time and time again, women tell me that they started exercising, got hurt, stopped exercising to recover, restarted exercising, got hurt again, and ditto, ditto, ditto. Simply put, if you're getting hurt, you're doing the wrong thing. You have to exercise without causing injury. Maybe you're just too ambitious and you aren't increasing your workouts gradually enough. Maybe you're doing the wrong kind of exercise. Maybe you need guidance from a trainer. Maybe just a few sessions with a trainer would teach you what you need to know in order to avoid injury. You should never, ever get hurt exercising. I'm a train wreck of an arthritic, and I have never hurt myself exercising. So find exercise that does not result in injury, be it yoga, Pilates, whatever. Exercise Exercise rule number 13 is simply the avoid ruts rule. You can do any kind of exercise you want to cut the fat, but the more variety you inject, the more fat you'll lose and the less bored you'll get. Your body responds to new kinds of exercise by burning more calories. So while all exercise will burn fat, new exercise will burn more fat until it's not new anymore. And if you get bored, you're likely to quit. Exercise rule number 14 is simply the don't give up rule. I hear all sorts of reasons for giving up. They include not seeing immediate results, comparing your weight loss with that of a man, regressing after a break from the exercise, seeing an increase in your weight on the scale. You just have to get over these things. Stick with it. If you don't, your fat is going to stick with you. So don't give up no matter what. You know exercise is beneficial for many things, so focus on all the reasons to continue exercising rather than all the reasons to stop exercising. Which brings us to our last simple exercise rule. Exercise rule number 15 is simply the long-term focus rule. This is all about focusing on the long-term results rather than the short-term results. You have to let go of your quick fix, instant results mentality to appreciate the benefits of exercise. Lower your short-term expectations and don't forfeit the long-term benefits if you don't see the short-term benefits. Don't expect to like exercising at the start. It's something that grows on you. In fact, there is a very predictable pattern to becoming an exercise fanatic, and it takes years. At first, you hate everything about it. You hate the idea of it. You hate preparing for it. You hate doing it. You hate the way you feel after you've done it, and you find every way possible to avoid it. With time, you still hate the actual exercise, but you like the results. This is when you just do it, but there's nothing enjoyable about the actual exercise. But you've seen the benefits in the mirror, and you like the compliments from others. With even more time, you like the exercise, but you don't love it. However, you do love the way it makes you feel. Now it's about more than just how it makes you look. You actually feel the benefits, and they feel good. With even more time, you find that you kind of like the actual exercise itself. You enjoy the process rather than just the results. And now you actually want to exercise. With even more time, you love exercise, and you can't imagine life without it. This is where you are addicted to exercise in a good way. You don't understand how some people live without it, and you're in a bad mood if you don't get to do it. So over time, you will exercise because you have to, and then you need to, and then you want to, and then you like to, and then you love to. So don't chastise yourself if you don't like exercise. That will come with time, over a long time. For now, just start the process. Okay, so those are the simple ground rules if you're new to exercise. Did you notice that they all focus more on the principles of exercise rather than on the exercise itself? That's why I wanted to present this kind of video. You have to get the order of events right. Principles come first, practice comes second. So once you institute these principles, you're ready to start your exercise practice. So here's the whole list of simple exercise rules for you to keep it simple, sister. The start today rule, the doing versus talking rule, the social motors rule, the everyday rule, the routine rule, the no interruptions rule, the no excuses rule, the enjoy it rule, the do your thing rule, the get equipped rule, the hydrate rule, the don't get hurt rule, the avoid ruts rule, the don't give up rule, and the long-term focus rule. Remember, keep it simple, sister. If you do nothing but walk, that's fine. And you know, these days, there are all sorts of gadgets to count your steps. If that's appealing to you, get one. Many people like the daily feedback of knowing how many steps they took. And for some, it's a great sense of reward to see that number. Or maybe it functions as motivation. Either way, it works. All that matters is that you accomplish your goals. This isn't about preventing a heart attack or sculpting your body. It's about cutting the fat. And that's that. So this is where I'll stop today. If you want my help with anything pertaining to exercise, I'll be happy to help you. All you have to do is schedule a consultation with me at menopausetailor.me. I am quite well versed in the exercise arena. I could be a fitness instructor. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram, but you will not get any steps for it. Nor will you get steps from subscribing to my channel or my newsletter, but you will get this education. So come back next week when we'll jump to herbal options for preventing endometrial uterine cancer. We'll be skipping vitamin, mineral, and supplement options for preventing it because there simply aren't any. So until then, bye!